You're listening to TC TAUX on TNT.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is TC here, back with another episode of TC TAUX, and this time we're going to talk exclusively about the Chicago White Sox. I know I typically talk both about the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox together, but honestly, I had a little bit of White Sox commentary that I wanted to get to in reference to some of the shenanigans that have been going on with some of the players. So we're going to get into that. But before we dive into all that, I want to thank you for tuning in to yet again another episode. We're so excited to be able to bring you another episode here on the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to show us that love down there for us. We would love to get that feedback in the comment section as well. So go ahead, do all the YouTube goodness, and we'll move on with the show. So, if you guys don't know, the Chicago White Sox battled their way back to 500 last night against the Oakland Athletics, who might not be in Oakland anymore, by the way. We'll see what happens. But in either case, they're able to slug out a win in the ninth inning, coming out 3-2 in that contest. And that's kind of sad if you think about it. The Chicago White Sox just unable to get it done against these teams that they need to be able to beat. Now, obviously, they got the job done in this game, but these are the games that they need to be advancing in, clearly dominating in, to just build some momentum going forward. But there's no clear sign of that. Now, fortunately, they play the Kansas City Royals coming up after this series, so I'm not really too concerned about how they're going to perform. But if they were going up against a more fierce competitor, I'm kind of concerned by that notion. So unless they come out and do really good against the Kansas City Royals, I do think that we could see the Chicago White Sox in a bit of a pickle when it comes to their next few series. So in either case, White Sox got the win last night. Dylan Cease is on the mound for the Sox tonight, so you already know he's going to give them at least 6 innings of pure golden magic. That Cease stash is coming alive tonight again. Yes, I'm rocking mine to show him the love. I hope you guys are too. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you rocking a Cease stash as well, or is it just something us Chicago guys are doing? Let me know. But in either case, Cease has been an absolute monster. Leads. I haven't checked in since I last saw he was leading the MLB with strikeouts. So he's dealing this year, and it gives the Sox the best option to be able to wrap up the series with a win, get another win at home, and battle their way back to 500 at home, because I believe they're 22-28 in home this season, and that's just not acceptable, especially when you look at some of these losses that they have. Like the Game 1 loss to the Athletics is just unacceptable. I know, they're a competitive team regardless of if they're, winning the best or worst. I'm not saying that, they can't go out there and be competitive, but at the same time, the Chicago White Sox are supposed to be one of these teams that are vying for a playoff spot, and it doesn't appear to be the case, in all honesty. They don't really seem to have that urgency to pull away, to get ahead, to catch up to the Twins in the Central, or to try to make a move in the wild card. It doesn't really seem like they care. So for that reason, I believe that, there's cause for concern. And with that in mind, with the fact that they're under 6 games, 500 at 6 games under 500 at home, and at the fact that they're literally at 500, more than likely finally going to get another game above 500 tonight. But at the same time, you have to start to question what's going on in the clubhouse. And one of the things that I like to bring up is the fact that there's been a lot of outrage on the field by some players, and it's just unacceptable to have interactions like that multiple times, especially when you're not producing. And I think we all know what I'm getting at. Tim Anderson the other night made contact with an official in the bottom of the 7th inning, I believe, after a first call strike, and he did not like it. He got all up in that umpire's face, and to a degree, to a degree, he kind of crossed the line when he went brim to brim with his hat and his helmet and made contact. And you can't do that to an umpire. That's just not okay in any sense of the imagination. And honestly, I feel bad for the White Sox to have to deal with that. And Tony La Russa got thrown out for it and everything. And I'm not going to try to rag on Tim Anderson too much here. I'm not trying to say that he's a bad guy or we should be mad at him. We should be upset, of course. But at the same time, it's not like Tim Anderson isn't one of the best, if not the best player on the White Sox, is not one of the best players in the league. So I'm not going to try to say that we need to rag on him repeatedly, but I do think there's something to say when your team is underperforming to the extent that they are. I think they're about 10 to 15 games underperforming. I think they should definitely be closer to that 60, 65 win mark at this point. They definitely should have been a 90-win team, and I just don't see that happening. And at the end of the day, it's kind of sad to see the Chicago White Sox out here just struggling to get ahead of 500. And when you have instances like this, when you got all this talk about, the disgruntled clubhouse because of Tony La Russa, when you look at the way some of these guys are on the field, it just starts to question where everybody's head at. Where are they focused on? And it's unfortunate that the White Sox seem like they're imploding on themselves. It seems like this is all, how can I make the best bet for myself after this season, because either I need a contract, maybe I want to go somewhere else. And, despite the White Sox only being a 500 team, I need to show them that I'm the reason that they're at 500 instead of, like 330. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case for the White Sox. I think they're going to try to retain everybody. I think that most of the players are going to try to be retained. And honestly, after this season, after this complete disaster, I don't know how you move forward. I don't think a new manager is going to solve the issue just because it seems like it's the players. I mean, Tony La Russa, like him, hate him, disrespect him, whatever you want to do, he is a great coach. He's a legendary manager, one of the best of all time. And if you disagree with that, then you could just leave. Okay. I mean, it's just a fact, and I'm not going to, dilly-dally with that. But was he the best fit for the White Sox? Maybe not. But the fact that he's out here and the team is struggling this much internally kind of just goes to show, maybe there's a lack of will or a lack of discipline. And perhaps a new coach can change that. But when you look at a guy like Tim Anderson, who's going to get all fiery like this because he is a very big ego, and I'm not trying to say that he doesn't have a reason to have it, but at the same time, these are team sports. We need team players. And I'm not trying to say that the Sox should get rid of Tim Anderson or anything to that extent, but he needs to realize that despite his level of success, despite how great he might see himself as, and as great as he may be, he needs to be able to work within a unit of a team. He can't not just go out there and be focused on himself. And especially when he's getting suspended now, potentially, it's probably going to get reduced because it's probably not going to be a 3-game suspension for helmet-to-helmet contact, whatever you want to call it. Brim-to-brim contact, we'll call it that. But in either case, Tim Anderson, I think, needs to just cool off. I'm not saying he can't do the bat flipping, which is something that I personally disagree with. But if he wants to do the bat flipping, do the bat flipping. If he wants to shout and yell, shout and yell. Get excited about doing good. Don't get frustrated about doing bad. That's the biggest thing about these White Sox, is it doesn't seem like they ever get psyched about winning. It always seems like they get mad when things don't go their way, and that's childlike. And this is not a team of children. They are not the Cubs, okay? They are the Sox. And that isn't a dig at that team, but at least they would have an excuse where they are literally baby Bears, okay? The Sox, on the other hand, have no sort of growing up to do. They are created at adulthood, so they need to be ready to go fresh out of the gate. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think that the White Sox just need to have a better manager that's a little bit more discipline-oriented to get these guys on track and to work together? Or do you think that this team's beyond saving? Or am I just wrong? Is there something else that they could do to try to get these players back on track, perhaps by the end of the season or going into next year? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Tune into the White Sox game today at 1:10 p.m. Dylan Cease takes on Adam Ollier for the Athletics on NBC Sports Chicago. Then the Sox take on a 3-game set with the Royals before they head out for their road stretch. This has been TC with another episode of TC Talks. Until next time, peace.